The sound was what woke me. A thin, desperate cry, like a baby left alone. But I was in my grandmother's compound, far out past the cassava fields in rural Ghana. The only children there were my cousins, and they were all older than 7. I sat up in the dark, my heart thumping against my ribs. It was past midnight. The air was thick and hot, and the mosquito net around my bed felt like a suffocating shroud. I held my breath, listening. The cry came again, this time closer, maybe just outside the hut. It was a wrong sound. Too high, too constant, and it didn't sound like it was moving. I'm a city boy, but my grandmother taught me a lot of things. One of them was about the chibamba, a thing that steals the sound of a baby's cry and uses it to lure lost travelers or, worse, to test the people in a home. She said you must never go to the sound. You must never answer it. A cold dread washed over me. I wanted to pull the covers over my head, but I had to know if the door was locked. I slid out of bed, careful not to make the old wooden frame squeak. I crept to the heavy wooden door. My hand shook as I reached for the simple metal latch. That's when it stopped. The sudden silence was louder than the cry had been. I froze, my hand hovering over the latch. I could hear the crickets outside and the distant cough of a goat, but nothing else. I stood there for maybe 3 minutes, just breathing. Then, a new sound. A scraping. It wasn't outside the door. It was coming from above me. The hut has a thatched roof, tied tight with rope. A rat, I thought. A big one. But the scraping became a heavy drag. Slowly, carefully, something was pulling itself across the roof, right over my head. And as it dragged, a fine sprinkle of sand and grit fell through the little gaps in the dried grass of the ceiling. I squeezed my eyes shut. This wasn't a rat. A rat scurries. This was slow, heavy, and deliberate. Then the weight stopped, directly above me. And a tiny, soft, wet drip landed on my forehead. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stood there, the cool, sickening drop on my skin. After what felt like an hour, the heavy dragging started again, moving slowly toward the back of the hut, and then over the edge, dropping with a soft thud onto the earth. The sound of silence returned, this time staying. I didn't move until the first rooster crowed at dawn. When the sun came up and my grandmother was outside starting the fire, I finally opened the door. She gave me a long, knowing look. "You look like you've seen a ghost, my son," she said. I told her about the cry, the dragging, and the drip. She nodded slowly. "You stayed inside. That is good. The Chibamba knows you heard it." I looked up at the roof. The early morning light was bright. "What was the drop, Mama? What dripped on me?" She walked over to the side of the hut where the thing had dropped. She pointed to a deep, straight groove in the soft dirt, like something heavy had been pulled across the ground. Then she pointed up at the edge of the roof. "When a baby cries for help, it has eyes," she whispered. "When the Chibamba cries, it does not. They say its eyes are loose, rolling on top of its head. They look for the light coming from your heart. The drip, that was its tear, my son." I wiped my forehead where the drop had landed. It felt dry now, but I still shivered. I'm leaving today, but I still feel like something heavy is watching my luggage. Update: I'm in the taxi now, heading for the city. I was just about to pull the door shut when my cousin ran up to the window. He was holding something small. A stone, about the size of an egg, smooth and black. "This was right where you were sleeping," he said. "On the floor." I took it. It was completely smooth, except for one thing, a small, dark red stain, right in the center, that looked exactly like a closed human eye. I threw it out the window and told the driver to go. I don't know why, but I think the Chibamba left me a gift. And I don't want it.